What is happening, people? What is happening? What is happening? Comment if you can hear me. How's it going? How's everybody going? Unannounced live stream just to make up for yesterday's bad recording, honestly. I had a problem with my router, so um I'm repeating this session real quick, letting everyone know. Okay. All right. So here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Welcome to this live stream. Before we get started, I'd like to talk about Liku and the market data platform that I'll be launching very soon. So if you would like to join the waitlist for this project, there are some benefits. Okay, I'm gonna put them right somewhere around here or over there. Um, I'm going to be sharing the revenue from the launch day with three winners. I'm going to sponsor a trader for the World Championship Trading World Cup, whatever thing, 2027 with a $10,000 entry. And lastly, I'm going to take someone to Miami. So let me know. Join the waitlist. There is a QR code over here that you can join. And you can also go to Discord and my Instagram stories. There's a link to that as well. And before we get started, let's go and let's rock and roll. Okay, here we are. Gold. Let's see what's gonna happen and what I think the market will look like this week. The next 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. As you can see, this is the 4 hour time frame, and I'm trying to visualize how the weekly candles will look like. There are a few scenarios that I'm expecting to see. It could be two bullish weekly candles where one of them could have a wick that manipulates last week's low, or it could be a bearish week that closes below these lows, and then the next week or following week manipulating those lows wherever those are and closing bullish. Now, does it mean it's going to be immediately that 1 week after the other one? Not, I don't know. This could occur in 2 to 3 weeks. There could be two bearish weeks and then a bullish week. There could be a bearish week and then the bullish week. There could be two bullish weeks or a bullish, then a bearish, and then another bullish. Either way, I think we are 1 to 2 weeks, maximum 3 weeks away from gold bouncing and manipulating these lows and bouncing back to 4,800 into 5,000 at least. Okay, at least. I will make my full analysis in just a second. I would like to also share with the community on Instagram that we're live, people. We are live. Let me see. If you have any questions, please use the chat. Um, so we're live. Let's see. Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's get this going. We are back. If you're hopping on right now, this is the live making up for yesterday's very, very bad recording and streaming connection. I'm making this up, and right above my head, you will see the benefits of the waitlist to Liku. Okay, this is a market data platform I'm going to be launching very soon. So join the waitlist because I'm going to split the profits with 3 lucky winners. I'm also going to sponsor a trader for the World Champion Trading Cup. That's a $10,000 seat, guys. And I'm taking someone to an exposition trading expo in Miami. So I am going to also leave a little QR code somewhere in the corner over there for you to quickly access the waitlist. If anything, go in my socials, look for Liku.app. Go to the Liku.app, sign up, register, and you'll be good to go. Okay? So, all right. Okay. So, as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, whoever is on, welcome. I'm trying to visualize the weekly candles, the next 2 to 3 weeks. And if you haven't seen my analysis, or if you're not in my Discord or wherever you're from, this is what I'm projecting from this low to this high. I am using the Fibonacci right here to measure And this green rectangle where it says potential buy zone, potential buy area, that is between the 61.8 and the 70% retracement of this push low to this high. Okay? So there are a few things lining up in the market right now. We have a major trend line. I'm going to explain to you what these little circles are in a minute. But if I go to the daily and even weekly time frame, if I go to the weekly time frame, check this out. I can now finally say that there is a low to which I can connect this area, this portion of the market. Okay? So from this low to that low, I'm going to pull a trend line and I'm going to copy and paste it just to project where the market might take us in the near future. Well, I'd say in the next few months. So as you can see, this again is the 61.8 and 70% retracement. And what's interesting is that this is a previous pivot zone, major pivot zone right over here. Okay, you see that? That is why I marked with these circles, these areas where price was respecting a high, a low over here, and in the daily time frame, the bodies of these candles are holding that price range as well. So these points over here are very sensitive in the future. They're going to become a very sensible price area. Okay. Now that zone overlaps with the trend line. And so all of this area over here is a very potential buy zone. Whatever your risk management is, you can set a stop loss around there and really just target this to the upside. I think we're going to get at least to 5,300, which is all of this zone over here, up here, okay, this resistance, 5,280, 5,380, more or less, okay? And what I'm trying to show you here in this session is how are you going to follow and anticipate the path that would be ideal for this to happen, right? How do we enter? So if you have the blueprint, which is the mini book I wrote about the models and the sessions analysis and everything that I have put into trading from all these years into this little compacted book, you understand what I'm looking for. I want New York to be last to buy, hopefully, ideally. I want to see the V-shape entry model. So if you know what I'm talking about, comment the V-shape is real. I want to see, obviously, these areas holding as support. And I want to see an Asian session snitching everyone out, saying we're going to go long. Okay. If you have the blueprint, I repeat these scenarios. This is not new to you, but if you are listening for the first time, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, here is this quick session for you. So what I have here is the weekly candle. Okay, the weekly candle started right here, and it's currently at this. There is no wick, however. This candle is literally only in body right now. The weekly candle has not come lower than its opening price. So there hasn't been a wick forming to the bottom yet. Now what that indicates is that it's looking for liquidity above these highs. This line right here is last week's high. Okay? this line right here. So it's very likely that price, one of two things, it's going to break above the high, that previous weekly high, and continue trading higher, and that is the body of the weekly candle, or at some point, even if it doesn't manipulate above, it could start coming down. Okay, because obviously this is a major resistance point right now. There's, as you can see, there's pressure. Price hasn't really taken off yet, so there might be at some point a lot of pressure to come down. So here is the body of that weekly candle, right? If it turns bearish, it's going to start looking like this, and it'll leave that wick over here, right? It'll leave the wick as of where price is right now. Okay, you follow me? And so what then the body of the candle would start coming down here, would come down here, and that's what I think is going to happen at some point. It'll come below these lows, right? Over here. These are the lows from last week. It'll come below them, manipulate them, and then bounce. That's what I'm ideally waiting for. Now, this could happen this week, or it could happen the next week, where scenario one, price comes down here, taps the buy zone at 4,400 and below, and it rejects very strongly, flipping bullish again. Okay, so bear with me now. That would look like this, with the body right here and this wick down over here. You see, that's initially the first drawing I had when you came in the stream. And then the body of that candle, bullish, probably closing even higher, right? That is one potential scenario. The other potential scenario is for the candle to close bearish, meaning this week to be bearish, because then next week, when it's the beginning of June, the monthly candle would start manipulating that low, right? Wherever this candle closed, maybe it'll respect it or manipulate it. And one would think there has to be a manipulation, but that's not always the case. And that is why I had these circles down over here. These circles right here, if we go to the weekly time frame, check this out. There's a very interesting pattern with gold when it's trending, where the weekly candles don't always necessarily manipulate the previous lows. In other words, the following candle doesn't always manipulate the previous candle's lows. And it happened multiple times. It happens multiple times. Look at that. Over here, all throughout this. And even in this area where it was consolidated, the weekly lows don't always get taken, right? There isn't always a manipulation below weekly levels. There is in daily levels, but not necessarily the week. So if we go back in this time frame and we're kind of, visualizing the future, how it could look like, this candle, even if it closes bearish, it doesn't necessarily have to close all the way down here. It could come all the way down here, reject, and then close above these support levels. And that would be ideal. That would be ideal right here, above these, anywhere above these levels. Okay. And the reason that would be ideal is because then the next week, which would be the beginning of June, all it would do is it would start bearish, but it would fail to come below and trap everyone who thinks is going to continue dropping. And so you'll start seeing sellers stepping in, and at some point during the week, it'll flip. And then that wick might respect this low. You see what I'm saying? Based on history and how gold when it starts trending and it is trending, it respects those weekly levels. That would be scenario two. Now, within these two scenarios, there are more footprints, right? We want to see. And a variation of this example, it would be if that weekly does get manipulated and simply you have a slight lower low than that, but then the weekly closed bullish. Either way, I want to see this rejection first. You see? I want to see the weekly candle come here and reject. Even if it's not this week, maybe this week closes like this, right? Tight, however it is right now. You see, maybe there's a wick over here, and then maybe it closes just like that, just like this. That's also valid because then what it's basically telling you is it's compressing, it's loading. You see, it's getting tighter and tighter. It's getting squeezed into this area. And at some point, you'll have the manipulation of all these lows and then a strong engulfing candle that takes price back above 4,700 or 4,600 at least, right? 4,600 to 4,700. That's what I would like to see as a confirmation in the weekly time frame. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to buy after that. I want to get in before. You see, I want to enter the market when we're down over here in this manipulation. So that's the $1 million question. How do we get in there? What are we supposed to do? And before I start talking about that, I repeat and I insist, anybody who's been coming in here, welcome. And as you know, I am about to launch this market data platform called Liku. And so I'm going to leave a QR code somewhere in the corner over there for you to quickly navigate to the website, to the waitlist website, which is liku.app. And if you join just by signing up to the waitlist, you qualify for these three benefits above my head, where I'm sharing 10% of all the revenue I make from the launching day with three people. The second benefit will be a ticket to the World Trading Cup Championship in 2027. That is a $10,000 account, live money for you to trade all 2027. You'll be sponsored by us and supported in the tournament from Liku Market Data Platform. From and with Market Data Platform Liku. And lastly, I'll take someone to New York. Sorry, Miami. Maybe New York as well, but it is an expo in Miami. Okay, so there's a QR, sign up, welcome to Liku, become an early member. A lot of benefits for you coming. Okay, and so let's go back to this $1 million question. How do we enter in this manipulation phase? Okay, regardless of how these weekly candles are going to look like, if we go to the shorter time period and the time frames, we basically want to see the market create equal highs as an engineered liquidity, meaning the illusion that this is going to be resistance. Okay, so I would like to see this as an engineered liquidity area where traders are going to get trapped thinking this is going to be resistance. I'm okay with seeing a manipulation above this and then coming down hard. That's fine. Okay, that's fine because then it shows that the market, all it did was use this internal liquidity. Okay, it used this internal liquidity range to manipulate these highs to then target the lows. Okay, that's a very common manipulation. It's a fake breakout. It traps buyers. This is a gap that might get closed at some point in the near future at least trade it into. Okay, we cannot ignore there is a potential trend line here forming that might hold price at 4,500. We cannot ignore the possibility of you potentially anyone buying here and targeting a strong rebound, right? However, because I think there's going to be a lower low than this, taking out all these early buyers, especially because we're finishing a month and we're opening a next month. And so the probability of that low to be manipulated is honestly quite at least 50%, right? It's pretty high if you consider. So I would like to see this fake out and then a big fall. Okay, that would be ideal because then all I'm gonna do is wait for price to break these lows, and from anywhere between these lows and 4,400, I want to see price come down, leaving short-term highs, right? Leaving short-term highs like this. And at some point, I want to see the V shape in the 5 minute, even 15-minute time frame. Ooh, what is a V shape? Um, go into my socials, Discord, you know what the V shape is. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure where you have price make a first push. Actually, let me show you here on what a potential V shape is looking like right now. Look at these lows right here and this high. Actually, even this high. So notice these equal lows right here, relative equal lows with these wicks, these wicks, these candles, you see? Now look at this low. Price comes from here down below these lows, right? It comes down here and then back above them, closing back above them. You see that? So this is 1, 2, 1, 2 up here. There, based on the V-shaped structure and the entry model that I've come across and realized it happens, and this is my signature setup, there's going to be a third or a second push lower. Second meaning this was the first one right here. 1. So I'm going to do this with an arrow. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 goes above 2. And then 5 respects the range between 2 and 3, and potentially all the previous lows should hold as future lows. And what that would look like is basically something like this, where you would have a 4 somewhere here and a 5, which is the pullback of this initiation. Okay, the pullback comes all the way back down here, targeting all this previous area of consolidation. It doesn't always come below this push, okay? It could stay up here and then take off, okay? It could stay up here and take off, but it could also trap even more sellers and come lower and do this. It'll come back down here, and right when it's about to come to break these lows, it'll create another V shape around here, and then it's gone. Really, really strong. This could happen in, I'm talking, um, 2 days. Price could it could dip in 2 days and it'll turn around in another 2 days. So in a single week, you'll have a long wick and then a huge rebound. Okay, so this is the structure 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. You see that? You starting to see that? So this is 1, 2. So we have these lows over here, all these lows, and then price come starting this first breakout, which is a fake out. It comes down and then goes back up. That's 1, 2. 3, 4 above 2, and 5 respecting all of these lows, potentially that first low, and potentially even this, right? Because then it'll be a breakout, retest, continuation. Okay, and that usually happens. It also happens. Um, so this is the overall V shape. And because price is fractal, you might see this, all of this down over here in the 5-minute and 15-minute time frame. I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to repeat that. And I'm actually going to change myself a little bit because I'm noticing that I am, there you go. Um, okay. That way when I'm looking, I'm talking now, you can see the chart over here. It's just it's my mind. It's my OCD. It was, I was, I was, I was confused looking at my stream and seeing myself looking the opposite way. Anyway, so this is what I want to see. This setup, this behavior, I want to see it down here. Okay? Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this could happen anywhere at or below 4,400 because don't forget that is a 61.8 retracement of the push that started this potential rebound, right? So if you are just hopping into this live stream, Liku is the future of market data and market analysis. It is a platform I'm going to be launching very soon. So up over there is the QR code to join the waitlist to the project because anybody who's in the waitlist, I have a couple of benefits for you. And right across the screen over there, you're going to see the waitlist benefits is a cash giveaway, a trading competition ticket, and a trip to Miami. Okay? All you got to do is sign up, join the Discord for Liku, which is the same Discord I have, except there's a little section for it, and for you to stay tuned. There's going to be a beta version of the website for you to use on June 8th so that you can also share your feedback and be part of this build out, okay? This is built by traders for traders. It's for you. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your thoughts, your suggestions. And let's build this together for everyone in the industry to use. That being said, let's go back to our session of today. How should we catch this potential buy opportunity? I was mentioning to you how I visualize the weekly candles looking something like this, right? Where price manipulates these lows. Now, what about the sessions? I mentioned the sessions Sydney, Tokyo, London, New York. And how are we going to anticipate this historically? And it's in my blueprint. I've noticed that there is a specific behavior in the Asian session just before price reverses from either bullish to bearish or from bearish to bullish. And what I've realized is that Asia is the snitch. Asia snitches when the market is close to or is going to reverse. And so for that, you need a technical indicator for sessions that it marks your sessions. Over here, as you can see, this is New York, Sydney, and Tokyo. London, New York, Sydney, Tokyo. What I want to see at some point is the New York session to be the last to make the low and an Asian session being bullish, indicating or starting to indicate that price wants to start trading up. Okay? So if we go back in time, look at this. Look, this was a perfect example. I didn't have to go back too much, but this was a perfect example. This is the New York session, the red one. New York was the last one to make this low, and Asia confirmed that from these lows, it would start engaging a bullish move. Okay, so New York is last to buy. Asian session bullish is a yet another confluence and very strong signal that the low is in a high probability of ending. I'm going to repeat that. The low is in currently the current state is a high probability of it ending. It doesn't mean it ended. It doesn't mean it's going to be bullish because everything is probability, but it's powerful. Look at this again. Red is New York. Look at what happened. New York was last to buy here and Asian session bullish, manipulation, respecting and closing bullish. You see that? Obviously this was the bearish move, and so the example, I cannot say this was an example because this was just a pullback of this breakout. But even on the bearish scenario, look over here. Look who was last to sell and manipulate everyone. New York. And look at this session in Asia. What did it do? It held bearish structure. It didn't trade back over there. And then what did this session do in Asia? Look at it. It was bearish. Ask yourself, if this was a pullback for a continuation, shouldn't have Asia been a bullish session, right? So go into also look at this. Asia is this niche. Remember I said Asia starts telling when price is near reversing or reversing. Look at what happened. Look what Asia did here. Asia manipulated up here and it sold off. And so this is them saying we're reaching a potential sell zone, and price indeed started coming down until New York manipulated everyone and said, I have to be the last guy in the market to enter the best trade, and then we are dumping, and it dumped. The same thing happens when it's going to reverse to the upside. New York likes to be last. Asia simply confirms it. So we're going to go back. Look at over here again. New York is the last to sell. Asia confirms. You see that? Over here, New York is the last to buy. Asia confirms. New York, last to sell. Asia holds bearish structure. Triggered all this. I'm not making it up. Go back in time and study this. Over here, Asia snitching, saying up, we're gonna come down. Price came down. I'm not making this up. It's in the blueprints. Put this indicator, study it. Now what are we doing? Now look what's happening. Asia over here, above these highs. Up, I want to come down. We want to come down. Boom, it came down. Over here. This is one out of all these examples I just showed you, that didn't happen, where it was Asia making the lows over here and New York trying to manipulate but respecting. But that's one out of like probably 10 that you can go back and see. Now we are here. We are here. And this is the ultimate high that Asia made on Tuesday last week or 2 weeks ago. This is the high of last week's. No, this is the high of last week. No, hold on. I'm confused. Thursday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Mm. Anyway, that's like 2 weeks ago. So at some point, New York might hold resistance or manipulate it briefly and then dump. And what's going to happen down here? I want to see London dump New York, manipulate and start buying, and then maybe here Asia will initiate that reversal. Okay? So now I'm going to mark it here in rectangles for you to see. This, I would like for this to be the New York session. My New York session is like this. It's a little dark yellow. Oh, it's not, it's red. Something like this, right? Okay. This is something like this I want to see down over here. And then the Asian session be quite aggressive when it opens, barely making a low. Even they might even just open bullish. Okay, you follow me? So I want to wait and see for the V shape. Wait for the V shape during the New York session or during a New York session. And this, I am throwing you the money entry. Some of you better buy me a pizza and a Rolex when you get this entry. It is going to be very likely between 9 and 11 a.m. Eastern time, New York. I am giving you the money cheat code. Between 9 in the morning and 11 in the morning, Eastern Time, New York, the New York session is going to make a low. You're going to start buying and hold it. Hold it, because then what you're going to see is the market close bullish. The PM session will start being bullish. Now, I'm obviously going full wizard predictive mode, but in a perfect scenario, you have a New York session that's bearish in the morning and then bullish in the afternoon. Okay? I repeat that. In a perfect scenario, you will have New York be bearish in the morning between 8:30 and 10:30 or less, and be quite aggressive in the mid-morning toward the closing. So the session, just like the daily candle and weekly candle, would start bearish, leave a wick, and then come back up. And more than the wick is the session's low, and then like the opening, the low, and the high of the session. And so when it closes going up, oh, I'm throwing you guys the goodies. Right over here, you're gonna see Sydney. Right over here, you're gonna see Sydney, the Sydney session. Sydney is gonna consolidate over here. Okay. Sydney is gonna open when the day starts, and it's gonna go up and down. Up is gonna go woo, 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 and it'll create a range when it's trading by itself. And then Asia comes in the picture. Asia gonna come here. They're gonna manipulate Sydney's lows, respect New York's lows. Mark my words, you mark my words. Sydney's gonna create a range. Asia's gonna open, is gonna manipulate that range, it's gonna respect New York's lows, it's not gonna come down here, it's gonna go like this, boop, and then very strong high up like this. That's gonna be the Asian session. And that is where you'll see a V shape. Asian session V shape. And the Asia session V shape is going to happen at 8 between 7 between um 7:45. I'm gonna say 8 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, New York. Oh, guys, are you recording? Who's watching this right now? Can somebody say holy crap? Can you comment V-shape? The V-shape is real. Somebody Pickbull says you saying we should dump. There's no should. Um, should, would, could, would, should. If the woodchuck could chuck wood, then a woodchuck would could. You know that it would. It would dump. It should dump. It might dump. I think it could dump. Oh, Mer, what is happening, man? I'm making it up for our last session. This is smooth right now. We are rolling. Asian session V shape between 8 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, New York. That is where you'll see Asia manipulate Sydney's range. All right. To what? What do you mean, pig pull? To what? 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 Between. Oh, you're saying, yeah, I see what you're saying. No, it's between. Look, it's sometimes between 7:50 and 8:15, but I'm just gonna say let's actually put it 7:50. 7:50 to 8:30. That there's gonna be a time window right somewhere around that time frame that the market is gonna make that V shape and then slingshot. S&P 500, I don't trade futures, I don't trade equities, I don't do none of that Nasdaq stuff. Um, I guess some of this you can bring it to that market, but I'm not an expert on it. I wouldn't know what to say about it. I know it's gonna dump at some point. It's the stock market is gonna have a big correction soon. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if to say soon again. Soon. Oh, I don't know. You're confusing me, man. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing you, I am making the predictions right now. I'm leaving the blueprint for everyone. I'm showing you what's gonna happen. Literally, I think I'm doing this from the future. I'm probably like in a quantum leap jump over here, kind of just, you know. Anyway, so, ho ho ho, ho ho ho. Who who is following me so far? Who is following me so far, huh? Interesting, huh? Very interesting. Up over here is gonna be the Liku QR code. Sign up to the waitlist if you're just joining. Those are the benefits of being in the waitlist. I'm gonna split 10% of the revenue on launch day with 3 winners. $10,000 for one trader to be sponsored for the 2027 World Trading Cup Championship, supported by Liku Market Data Platform, and a trip to Miami. So, that being said, let's continue answering any questions and talking about this. If one goes only one way up, a correction is high likely. I guess a New York session stock market should crash, turn bearish. Interesting. Interesting. Right? I don't know. I don't think about anything else but gold. Obviously, things are correlated positively or negatively. The dollar dumps when gold spikes. If oil spikes, gold dumps. Regardless of whatever happens, I don't really care other than gold. What's it gonna do? So, this is the blueprint for you all. I'm going to leave it here. Please don't believe me and don't think this is a financial advice. This is my prediction, my analysis. I have a quite an accurate, I think it's quite an accurate entry model called the V-shape, and I base all my analysis on sessions behavior. I've come across months and months, years up until this point of seeing certain patterns in between each session. That is all. I'm sharing with you what I've used and what the market shows. These are the high probability scenarios and behavior in structure, market structure, combined with sessions analysis, price action, and overall, yeah, just market structure, okay? So I see what the comment here is saying. Just like gold, the stock market has been going up and up and up and up. One break, retest, and waterfall, right? So referring to the stock market, the Nasdaq, S&P, then yes, it's likely because it's been going up and up and up and up and up. At some point, something related to AI, I think, because at this point, it is honestly mostly AI that is driving all that force with the Nasdaq index, Nvidia, Google, Facebook, and all these companies going like literally all in with AI. It's just not sustainable, right? At some point, you'll have some degree of correction. I wouldn't complicate myself too much, and I would just focus on gold if you choose to. Of course, if you want to put your eggs in different baskets, at some point it's probably going to be convenient to sell or short the US stock market. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to stop here. I hope that you liked this session. I was making it up for last one, which was rough with the internet connection. Um, but yeah, here we are. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll stick around for a few little things if you want to have a conversation. If not, well, let's go to space. I don't like that. I'm waiting for the beat. Oh, I forgot to put the Asian session here. Sydney.